G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website and YouTube channel Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, the federal Labor government have been exposed doing a dodgy deal worth $2.6 billion in relation to the Nauru detention centre. And the federal Senate are going to hold an inquiry early next year in relation to that dodgy deal. I've just published an article on the story. An article was published on the 30th of November 2025 titled Labor Party Corruption to be spotlighted in a new Senate inquiry into Labor's dodgy $2.6 billion Nauru deal. And the article starts off, the Labor government's version of Peter Dutton's rorting offshore detention centres for billions of dollars for his mates will be exposed in greater detail next year after a new Senate inquiry was announced. The story itself is of great interest because the corruption has the potential to at least take down the current Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke and will almost certainly do a lot of damage to the Labor Party government. But there is also the aspect of the Senate inquiry achieving more and in effect sidelining the National Anti-Corruption Commission on major government corruption scandal. Reporting over the last few months, mostly by Nine's papers and 60 Minutes, has shown the federal Labor government knew they were dealing with a corrupt Nauruan president and government, but they didn't care. Labor's $2.5 billion deal with Nauru. The Sydney Morning Herald published an article on the 27th of November 2025 titled, Australia was alerted to millions in suspicious payments to Nauru politicians. Then it signed a $2.5 billion deal, which starts off, Nauruan President David Adang was suspected of money laundering and corruption by Australian authorities 3 years before he signed a fresh $2.5 billion deal with the Albanese government in exchange for taking in non-citizens. Adang and Nauru's former president, Lionel Anjamia, were implicated in more than $3 million worth of suspicious transactions in 9 months, according to warnings from financial intelligence agency Austrac. Many were linked to a company traced to Anjamia's wife. They were subcontracted by an Australian firm running the offshore detention regime. A secret warning to government departments from 2022 has been made public for the first time after it was read into Hansard on Tuesday by Green Senator David Shoebridge. Shoebridge said it was evidence the Albanese government was aware Dang was suspected of corruption when Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke flew to Nauru to enter a fresh deal with him earlier this year. The Sydney Morning Herald published an article on 27th of November 2025 titled, Watchdog spent millions with security firm linked to Fink's bikie gang, which starts off, the booming private Australian security firm that has won contracts with federal law enforcement agencies, the nation's corruption watchdog, federal departments and AFL clubs is secretly running a security immigration operation on Nauru, with a bikie gang linked contractor and the country's allegedly corrupt president. Senate inquiry. Sydney Morning Herald published an article on the 27th of November 2025 titled, Corrupt Nauru Deals, Bikie Company Links Under Scrutiny in Senate Inquiry, which starts off, persistent allegations of corruption in the president of Bikies and the delivery of the federal government's multi-billion-dollar Nauru deportation scheme will face scrutiny in a Senate inquiry. On Thursday, Green Senator David Shoebridge successfully proposed an inquiry by the Legal and Constitutional Affairs References Committee to examine offshore processing and resettlement arrangements with Nauru since 2022. In particular, the committee was tasked with looking at payments to contractors, subcontractors and third parties and integrity around the system. A report is due by June. And I go on to say in the article, there are reports that the same allegations that the Senate's Legal and Constitutional Affairs Committee will investigate have also been referred to the National Anti-Corruption Commission, which will make things interesting. I published an article on the 9th of November 2025 titled, Anthony Albanese says to Scott Morrison, hold my beer as federal Labor Party corruption is on the rise, which starts off, the Scott Morrison government from 2018 until 2022 is regarded by many as the most corrupt government the country has seen in recent times, if not the most corrupt government ever. But Prime Minister Anthony Albanese seems to be trying to take the title away from Scott Morrison. I don't think Albanese is deliberately trying to take the title. It's just that Albanese doesn't care, the same as Scott Morrison didn't and still doesn't care. While that article is only a few weeks old, it's already starting to age well given the above. When there is a corruption scandal brewing, especially a major corruption scandal such as Labor's $2.5 billion deal with Nauru, the government should be on the front foot, calling a press conference daily to address any questions and let the public know what they are doing to investigate the corruption. What Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke are doing is hiding from the media. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, when asked about the corruption claims, said the minister would respond to that, but added, "I note those issues, as I read them, come from a period before we were in government." Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke declined an interview request and did not answer questions relating to the government's role in the contracts. In a one-sentence statement, he said he had full confidence in the relevant agencies. And I go on to say in the article, Albanese openly lies and says the issues come from a period before we were in government, which is a lie because they are mostly current issues, as is Labor's $2.5 billion deal with Nauru. And what does Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke do with such serious allegations? He hides under the desk, refuses an interview, and avoids responsibility by saying he had full confidence in the relevant agencies. Albanese and Burke will have their lies exposed and called out at the Senate inquiry next year. A gift for the Liberal National Party coalition? Opposition parties generally thrive when the government is embroiled in a corruption scandal, but the Liberal and National parties are so dysfunctional at the moment that they likely won't take full advantage of Labor's Nauru scandal. And then there is the fact that the coalition's former Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton rorted the system and gave billions of dollars to his mates at Pellet and Canstruct for offshore detention, which included Nauru, which makes it hard for the coalition to shine a light on Labor Party corruption. But the Greens and minor parties and independents will boost their standing greatly if they can expose corruption with the Nauru deal. Now, I'm an independent journalist, and I say this at the end of the article. Admin, 17 new monthly supporters have joined during the last 2 weeks after I posted the below message, which I'll read out in a minute, which is great. If you're not a monthly supporter and would like to consider being one, please read what I wrote last week below, and I'll read that out to you now. I'm an independent journalist and 100% crowdfunded by viewers like you. I need about another 200 monthly supporters to be financially viable. That 200 is obviously less than the 17 that have joined up over the last couple of weeks. Most independent journalists are small business owners and are struggling at the moment, just like many small businesses. If you could afford an amount between $3 and $100 a month or whatever suits your budget, it'd be greatly appreciated. You're not locked in. You can cancel at any time. In the donation page on my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia has all the donation options. Or below this video in the description box on YouTube has all the donation options as well and a link to the donation page. And please do your bit and help shine a light on corruption and share this video on social media. And please hit the like and subscribe button and notification button. That way you get notified when I publish a new video. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.